What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Happy holidays. Hope you're doing well. It's been a little while. Things have been pretty busy. I just wanted to bang out another quick video here before the end of the year. We're about 2 days away from 2020. And it's that time of the year where everybody's releasing their best of year lists. Top 10, top 20 of the year. It's been a hell of a year for music, man. And, you know, I love reading all these lists. I love seeing all your videos on your top 10 for the year. It really gives me an opportunity to go and check out other music that I've not even heard of or just hadn't gotten a chance to get around to. It's amazing how much stuff comes out because, man, trying to get around to every album that comes out, it would have to be a full-time job to be able to listen to everything. So, you know, if you're wondering what my favorites are for the year, if you watch my other videos, you pretty much know what they are because I only really review stuff here that I think is stand out and stuff that I actually buy. I was thinking about doing my own year-end list, but then I thought, you know, I don't feel like I'm really qualified to give you my top 10 because I just didn't, you know, listen to nearly as much stuff as most of you guys probably listen to. So anyway, just for this year-end video, I just wanted to say good luck to you. Hope you had a great year for 2019. Looking forward to the next year. I just got a stack of new stuff here I'm going to show, just give a few thoughts about. Right now we're listening to just a little bit of ambience for the music. And sorry also, it's probably loud in here because we're right by my furnace and it's kicked up pretty high because it's been a hell of a winter so far. Anyway, just for a little ambience, we're listening to this band. It's called Esoteric. I think German band. This is just dark ambient music. Good background stuff for working and whatnot. This one's called Gardars Bolmer. Cool stuff. This guy's got a whole shit ton of stuff if you go look up on his Bandcamp. Some of his stuff is maybe black metal-ish, but I think his more recent records are more around the ambient realm. I love this kind of stuff just to listen to in the background, especially when I'm working. Stuff like this, Dungeon Synth and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, so I'll just start with some CDs that I've picked up recently, starting with the new Nile Violet Melodic Rites. And in my humble opinion, this is one of the greatest death metal bands of all time. I don't think they've put out a bad album. The last couple of records were not great, still good, but maybe it felt like they were starting to kind of lose it a little bit there and kind of, you know, running out of ideas and whatnot. And then all of a sudden Dallas leaves the band, which I was really worried about. And they got these two new guys in there, so I was kind of hesitant to, you know, I mean, obviously I was going to pick this up, but, you know, just really not expecting, you know, the level of some of their earlier output. But, I mean, everybody's probably heard this by now, and goddamn, it's freaking awesome. Definitely the best thing they've done in a while. I think these new guys in the band have kind of rejuvenated Carl Sanders a bit. And actual songs on here that the new guy, Brian Kingsland, wrote, the ones that he wrote on here, I think I actually like the best, man. Just some of their best stuff in years, just absolutely technical, but not sacrificing the catchiness of the sort of Egyptian style that they do. Just a lot of great stuff on here. Coleus is awesome as usual. And, you know, one of the things I love about Nile is they kind of always give you a little bit extra because I've always really loved their concept. You know, the whole Egyptian mythology and whatnot, but, you know, as always, Carl Sanders puts his liner notes to each of the songs and really kind of goes in depth to how the song was written, what it's about, and I love that. I really like to have that to read along to the songs. I wish more bands would do that. It's one of the things that they've always done that, you know, if anybody else starts doing it, they're going to start, you know, calling them out for, you know, ripping off Nile for doing liner notes, but whatever. Anyway, crushing record, amazing. Just saw him live recently too with Terrorizer in Denver, and you know, as always, crush it, man. Nile, one of my favorites, man, and God, I hope they just. It sounds like they're just going to keep going strong with these new guys, hopefully. So, cheers, guys. All right, next up, I've got the new Esoteric with Empiric Existence, and I just picked this up at the record store recently, and I've kind of listened to some Esoteric in the past and not really been able to get into much of their stuff. I keep telling myself that I just don't have the patience for this sort of death doom You know, I mean, the first song on here is nearly 30 minutes. You know what you're going to get, and all this kind of stuff requires a really patient listen, and as always, I've got to be in the mood for it. And even though I keep thinking like I don't have the patience for this kind of stuff, each of these bands, you know, there's a handful of bands that just keep proving me wrong, such as Evoken and Mournful Congregation, whose last two new ones were fantastic. This one, this is, I can't describe how dense of a listen this thing is. I mean, 2 CDs long. I mean, it's probably, the whole thing's probably over an hour long. It's two, really cool little digipack that Season of Mist put out. How to describe this stuff? I mean, I can't say that I've fully ingested this album yet, but it's definitely one of those things where if you're patient, you're definitely rewarded. Just in that first track, Descent, toward the end of it, it just kind of reaches some heights that, you know, somewhat transcend it. Yeah, if you're into this doom death stuff, this is, I really need to listen to this some more, but this might be the best one out of that whole group. I'm definitely going to have to go back into their catalog and give some of that stuff a try again, because I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm starting to warm up more to this sort of thing, because it really requires a lot of patience for you. Anyway, yeah, crushing, absolutely transcendent album. Buckle your seatbelt for this one, man. It's all right. Next up, I've got this is the new Insomnium with Heart Like a Grave. Now we're talking about melodic death metal. Back, if you watched one of my last videos where I was talking about my sort of history with metal music, back in the day, like the late '90s, I think one of the big things that brought me back into metal after that sort of period where it was sort of dead was a lot of the melodic death stuff that was coming out of Sweden. You know, the early Dark Tranquillity, early In Flames, At the Gates, and then, you know, Soilwork and stuff like that. I was really, really heavily into that stuff when it was getting, you know, sort of exploding, late 90s, early 2000s. And like so many other genres in metal, you know, it had its highs and then it sort of went to its lows. And there's not too many bands that are doing this kind of stuff that are very, at least that I'm very much into. But, you know, when it's done right, man, it could be really good. And this is a fantastic album, this Insomnium. You know, I enjoy their first couple records, and over the years I've kind of dipped out of them because a lot of their stuff sort of just blends together. And then they put out the album before this, Winter's Gate, which kind of brought me back into this band. It was a fantastic, you know, experimental, one long song kind of record. This is kind of back to the just shorter songs. Fantastic songwriting. As the one thing I'm looking for in this type of stuff is good melodies, and this is chock full of that stuff. I mean, I think the reason why this band is so good again is because of the lineup that they now have. They've got some pretty heavy hitters on guitar. And mainly I'm referring to the guy from Ambient, who I think is one of the better sort of melodic death metal bands that are out there right now. I think they're, you know, everything that they've been putting out recently is just great melodic stuff. And this is really kind of, I think there's like the big four, I would like to say, of Finnish melodic death metal, where it would be Insomnium, Swallow the Sun, Omnium Gatherum, and of course Amorphous. Even though Amorphous might have a little bit more to offer, you know, not just straight melodic death, but yeah, man, this is a really fantastic record. I'm really enjoying it. Just really catchy, awesome melodic stuff going on. And the guy I'm talking about, Marcus von Hala, I think. He's the guy that's in Omnium Gatherum. And they also got the other guy that used to play in Sonata Arctica, Jani, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he wrote a lot of really good stuff on the early Sonata Arctica records. Kind of a powerhouse guitar group going on now with this band. Fantastic, really enjoy it. All right, next up I've got the new Crips sermon. This is the Ruins of a Fading Light. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. It's cool because I've sort of missed out over the years over these sort of more traditional metal bands, like kind of just doing the more traditional sort of fantastical style. I know these guys get compared a lot to like Candlemass, which that's a band I'm just not really familiar with. I've never really been exposed to them, and it's probably one of those things that I need to go back and check all that stuff out. This is really good, just catchy. The best song on here is the second track, Key of Solomon. Just a really, really catchy, awesome melodic ideas going on in there. Good solos on this thing. Just good sort of fantasy vibe, traditional heavy metal. Really digging this one. All right, next up, this one is Beherit, Drawing Down the Moon. Now this is, pretty old record. I think this came out in like 1993. Was in the record store the other day and saw this with a bunch of their other CDs. I think all their stuff has been repressed, and this is one of those classic albums that everybody talks about. And my history with this is, I had a buddy back in 9th grade that dubbed me a bunch of cassette tapes, just black and death metal stuff, and this was one of the ones that he made a copy of for me. And I remember putting it on and listening to it and just being like, okay, I'm gonna put this up, put it away. This is not for me. I mean, it's just the weirdest, most evil shit that I've ever heard, and not for me. Way ahead of whatever I was going to get into at the time. So I had that tape then, but I'll tell you what, I figured I'd pick this up because it's a classic. Listened to it a couple times. I didn't get it then, and I still don't get it. I think this thing sounds like shit. It's obviously really primitive. I know that this is kind of, the early stuff that really went on to influence a whole slew of a genre in black metal, but there were, at the time, I think there was just so many other records in that year that came out that were so much better than this. I'm probably going to get flamed for saying it, but I think really this stuff is just not for me. But I figured I'd just pick it up and give it a chance again. Have it because it's sort of one of those classic albums that everybody talks about. I don't know. I don't get it. Like the stuff just kind of makes me laugh. There's just one track. I think it's like the 8th or 9th track down there where it starts off, and just the growl that the dude gives off just makes me laugh my ass off. It just starts with this really primitive blast beat, and it's like or something. It's freaking hilarious, man. Maybe it's uber evil or what. I just don't give a crap about that kind of stuff, and whatever, man. I know it's classic, so it's kind of cool to have in the collection. All right, last of the CDs I've got here, this is a non-metal record. This is a band called Snarky Puppy. And how do I describe this? It's sort of like a jazz band mixed with rock and fusion, maybe a little bit of classical. They've got a whole horn set. It's like, the band is like 30 guys. There's a whole horn section, there's like 3 or 4 guitar players, a bass player, a drummer, percussionist, strings, all kinds of crap. Keyboardists, electronics, all these things. And this is sort of a mix of all those genres. And this album is the band actually performing somewhere in Europe. And it's kind of cool because it's got the CD recording of it, and CD's in the car, and then a DVD as well. And it's a video recording of the whole band. I think if you're into music at all, you would at least appreciate this, even if you're not into like jazz or that kind of stuff. I'd highly recommend, just go on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description for Snarky Puppy. The song, look up the song Lingus, 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 and watch that freaking video and watch these guys go off each other. And it's just freaking amazing, man. Just like, and they're not even reading music. Everything seems somewhat improvisational, but they also are playing, by memory. And some of the guys playing, it's like they got to have some kind of structure to it. It's just really, really cool jazz fusion, rock, classical rock kind of stuff. Snarky Puppy. I highly recommend you check that out. All right, just got a couple of tapes here. Try to bang through these pretty quickly. This is the new Monstrosity with the Passage of Existence. I pretty much missed out on this band for a while now. The last record that I really got into was In Dark Purity, I think, which was fantastic Florida death metal. And sorry, I was kind of showing this upside down. kind of just a blind buy. I had heard that this was pretty good, and I found this really cool little die cut sleeve tape, cassette tape. This is very, very polished sounding. I mean, you know what you're going to get. It's Florida death metal, but it's extremely polished, uber produced, but good stuff. It's almost, you know, very long listen actually. Cool, clear pro tape. I'm gonna have to go back and check out some of the last couple records that I missed out on from this band because they're, you know, just one of the classic bands, Monstrosity. But I'm digging it. It's good stuff. Can't go wrong. Not overly technical, but technical, catchy, Florida death metal. All right, so the next slew of releases, I've got one more tape, and then I'm gonna show the rest of the stuff I have is vinyl. But I've got these next few bands are kind of going to be in the same category, I guess. This was no surprise because everybody's been showing these and talking about these, but the whole $20 spin craze, which is great. I mean, they put out so many good records this year, but they've got this whole, you know, ever since the dawn of Tomb Mold in the last couple of years, they've all these new sort of swampy, festering death metal bands have been coming out of the Pacific Northwest, and I don't know if this is just a fad or you know, if it's just another genre thing that's, you know, gonna sort of fade out after a couple of years. All these records are good. I just wonder how much staying power this stuff is gonna have, starting with Witch Vomit, with Buried in a Bottomless Grave. Don't ask me why I don't have this on vinyl. It's the only one. I just picked this up on tape at the time when I was ordering stuff. I just, you know, just ended up throwing whatever. No rhyme or reason to it. Hadn't even really heard this. Was just kind of a blind buy. But yeah, good. Just old school, horrific death metal kind of stuff, which is fun, catchy, pretty good. I'm enjoying it. That's the first of the pack, is these guys coming out of the Pacific Northwest. Next up, and probably my least favorite out of this whole stack, is the Cerebral Rot. Everybody's been going crazy about all these bands, and this is good. I do enjoy it. I just find it to be gets kind of boring after a little while. I feel like the drumming isn't really that great. Came on this sort of clear, smoky with like a grimy green print in the middle. Pretty cool looking. It looks cool when you put it up against the light. I love just kind of jumping on $20 spin releases because they're not that expensive. It's always just one vinyl. You know, you end up paying maybe $20 or whatever. So and they always, you know, do cool color variants. I really dig. But anyway, this one is probably my least favorite out of these next few bands, and it's good. It's just I don't know how long, you know, bands like this. You know, is this just sort of a fad? I don't know. You know, we'll see. The next band shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Is the Fedot with Steeping Corporeal Mess. I mean, I just had to buy this just for the cover art. This is the coolest thing. Probably the coolest cover art this year. It's just like this, you know, sort of, you know, wormhole sphincter or something like that. I just love the whole just grimy, disgusting sort of vibe that these bands got. You know, it's just so like tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. Very cool pressing on this one, sort of just a green-yellow sort of merge with splatter. I'll show that. Really cool pressing from $20 spin. I like this one a lot better than Cerebral Rot. It shares a guitar player between both bands, and I think what's just cool about this is they just sound a little more unique. The drumming, you know, the drummer, he does all the vocals, and it's just got some grooving, killer stuff, and I really enjoy this one. Fedot. Too good. You can't pass up something like this, you know. It's just too freaking cool. Now, coming up to probably my favorite out of this whole pile of sort of Pacific Northwest, guttural, grimy sort of death metal is this Mortar Ferrum, which came out on Profound Lore. This probably could have came out on 20 bucks spin, and it's just like, I wonder how they choose on who gets who, you know. But this is definitely my favorite out of that whole group. This is more of a doomy kind of death metal record. And man, this is freaking very, very good stuff. I got sort of another cloudy, smoky black kind of press. Love the cover art on that as well. Very, very heavy stuff. And what I like the most about this is just the production is really clear, and you can really hear what's going on. It gives a lot of the instruments room to breathe. The drumming is fantastic. Really love the drumming on this. And I think that a lot of those qualities are what they have sort of to one-up fedot and cerebral rot. But fantastic record. Really looking forward to see what these guys do next, and hopefully they can kind of expand on these ideas they're doing here. Very cool stuff. Next, this should be no surprise whatsoever. It's a new Obsequiae with a Palm of Sword Kings. Been anticipating this one for a while. Everybody has. Everybody's loving it. Such a unique band, this band. It's amazing because like I've listened to this so many times, as I did the last album that they released, and God, it's amazing how like nothing ever really sticks as like too memorable. Maybe it is, but this is one of those few bands that can sort of like everything sort of blends together, but it works. You know, a lot of bands I hear where things sort of just kind of blend together and I start getting kind of bored and stuff. You know, not the case with these guys. I mean, this isn't really a whole lot different than the last album, but I'm really hoping on his next record, I'd like to see like some more development with some, you know, clean vocals. It was cool that he got the guy from Caladan Brood to do one of the songs on here, and then there were some clean vocals from I forgot the band the other guy was in, but I really kind of think that works for this kind of music. Regardless, definitely one of the best albums of the year. Such a unique band. Castle metal, as everybody's calling them. You know, when you listen to this stuff, it really does transport you to like medieval times or something like that. I got a really nice pressing for this. This is like a sea blue with silver splatter. 20 bucks spin, very cool. They just announced these guys are playing at Fire in the Mountains up in Wyoming this summer, and I think I'm going to go to that. I'm really going to try and make an effort to go see that festival. You know, these guys don't ever play live, so that would be something to see. All right, so this next one, this is another Profound Lore release that I just got called Venom, Ageless Fire. This was kind of a blind buy as well. I got that Mortar Ferrum, and I picked this with that as well. What a great blind buy this was. I haven't seen too many people talk about it. This is the kind of black metal that I like. Definitely sort of atmospheric. Kind of has like a warlike sort of vibe to it. Very melodic and very sort of majestic. Definitely the kind of black metal that I like. Just very well written stuff. Highly recommend this for you if you're into atmospheric kind of stuff. Cool that they're American too, because you know it could have fooled me. The only gripe I have about this is maybe the vocals. I'm kind of been warming up to them, but I didn't really like the vocals at first. They're a little too in your face for my taste, but definitely not a deal breaker whatsoever because the music is just amazing. Highly recommend this one, Battle. All right, this next one, another should not be a surprise whatsoever. The new Blood Incantation. It's been talked about ad nauseum. I don't need to say anything else about this. It's amazing how much hype this has gotten, and it's well deserved. Just a great band. I just wanted to show off my cool little sort of merge pressing that I got here. I like that these guys are kind of giving you a little bit more as well. I'm not going to take it all out, but there's a whole couple of booklets in here, just all kinds of cool stuff to read and look at. What can you say? One of the best records of the year. Can't go wrong. All right, just got one more actually, and this is the new Alcest record with Spiritual Instinct. Very cool sort of box. We call it an earbook. From Nuclear Blast, who haven't always been impressed with their physical products, but this really came out nice. It's basically just like a big book with sort of the CDs and then the vinyl. And just really cool booklet in here. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show this off, but I've said it before, this is one of my favorite bands of all time, and I gotta say, I'm pretty, I don't want to say disappointed with this. This is a good record, but looking back in their discography and comparing this to everything else they've done previously, this is probably my least favorite Alcest record. You know, it's kind of like they just went for a more, like, sort of commercial, I don't want to say commercial, but just kind of more, it almost sounds like Alcest went arena rock, you know, because like the songs kind of just have more of a live sort of vibe to them, and it seems like they sort of went for more, trying to just make it catchy, and everything. I mean, it's a good record. It's just by the end of it, I kind of just feel like, you know, I want more. It's missing that sort of transcendent, you know, vibe that they always have on most of their records. I mean, it definitely has some, you know, that trademark Alcest ethereal sort of sound. It just, it's just kind of short, and I hope that they kind of, I almost feel like Alcest does really good when they're taking chances, you know. It's usually like their best records. Anyway, definitely no slouch at all, but I can't help but feel, I just, you know, when you hold a band in such high regard and you have such high expectations whenever they release a new record, I'm probably just giving it too much and should just let it stand for what it is. But you know, still a great band, and I'm hoping that the next one they kind of take a little bit more of a chance and do something a little more expansive, I guess. So that's pretty much all I have for the Pal today. You know, like I said, I wasn't going to do a year-end list, but I figured why not just go ahead and give my album of the year, because this is my album of the year, and this should come as no surprise if you've watched some of my previous videos. Nothing topped this for me this year, as many great albums that have come out, but the new Nasheim, nothing beat this for me this year. It's still just, you know, every now and then you come across an album that you just feel was like it was made just for you or something, you know. And this really feels that way to me. It's like everything about this appealed to me. It's an absolute masterpiece, and I've listened to it a lot this year, and I just don't think that anybody has topped this, especially when it comes to the compositional nature of these songs. The way that the guy wrote these songs are just masterful in the way that he can take certain ideas and just, you know, kind of build upon these different melodies and these different themes, and build to where you really, it's not like it's just repetitive or something like that. It just, everything seems exactly in place as it should be when it comes to the songwriting on this record. So there you have it. That's my album of the year. And yeah, can't wait to see what this guy does next. Hopefully soon. You know. Right on, guys. I appreciate you watching. If you dig the video, click the subscribe button and keep up. I have some plans for 2020. I guess we'll see what happens. I definitely want to bring the hiking metal series back. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do there. It seems like I'm definitely going to do a winter video before the winter's over with, just to have something a little bit different. But I'm not really sure what the future is for that series. You know, it just really kind of depends. I mean, it seems like these sort of review format videos are a little bit more popular. That's what people enjoy seeing. That's what I like seeing as well, you know, but be cool to just like maybe throw out some new hiking metal videos with some different ideas to sort of incorporate all this kind of stuff into, you know, being outdoors and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. I for sure need some better equipment because this camera is just not going to work for me anymore. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk at you really soon. Cheers. Hopefully you have a great freaking new year.